Chullin Daf Kuf Yud Zayin. Although chaylev, the fats of an animal that are usur, and blood, dam, have the same oynish, the same punishment, kares, the Mishnah says that there are tremendous differences between the two. The Mishnah starts off saying that the stringencies that chaylev has are that there's me'ilah, meaning if you were to use chaylev for your own benefit, even inadvertently, the shogig, you'd be chayav a karban and you'd have to bring a chomesh, where that doesn't apply to blood. Even kachikalim, in other words, if you have a shlamim, for instance, which is the lighter type of carbon, you could eat it outside of the Beis Hamikdash, and you ate the chaylev, you use the chaylev, you'd be over on me'ilah. And the Gemara brings two ways to learn it. Either there's a hekesh from the bull of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur, and just like over there, the bull, you're over on me'ilah if you use the chaylev, so too by kachim kalim, you're over on me'ilah. And the other way to learn it is from Rebbe. Rebbe says, Kol chaylev l'Hashem. All the chaylev, all the fats that are usur are Hashem's, even kachim kalim. The Gemara says, so why do you need the two limudim? You need one limud to tell us even the diaphragm, the useres, which is an amazing thing. In the animal, you have a dividing wall in the cavity of the animal that divides the one half of the animal that has the lungs and the liver and the vital organs to the other half that has the intestines and everything else. And also to include the shtei kloyos, the kidneys. And the other pasuk comes to say that there's an amazing chiddush here. You have the fat in the tail, which is mutter to eat, because we learned, it says in the Torah, all three things, kol chaylev, shor, v'chesev, v'eiz. So you have a bull, a goat, a sheep, and a goat, and since not all three go onto the mizbeach, only that of a sheep, so we learned that you're allowed to eat that chaylev. However, on the other hand, you're over on me'ilah if you use the chaylev of a tail. And the Mishnah continues to say what other stringencies does chaylev have over blood. There's the concept of isur chalal isur that we discussed many times. So if you have the isur of pigul, if Kain thought to himself that he's going to be makriv, for instance, a part of the animal, the chaylev, he's going to be makriv after it's a lot of time. Say you have to be makriv it within a day. He thinks to himself he's going to be makriv it in 5 days. And he eats that chaylev, that's pigul, and he's chayiv kares. But in addition to that, he's chayiv on the isur of chaylev as well. It's isur chalal isur. And the same thing for noisar, if he leaves over carbon, or a person himself is tamei. So if a person is tamei and he eats kachim, he's chayiv kares, goes into Beis Hamikdash, chayiv kares. Over here, if he eats the chaylev, he'll be chayiv too, for chaylev and for being tamei. By dam, by blood, it's different. You have, the Gemara brings three miyutim to tell us that me'ilah, noisar, and tuma don't apply. The Gemara doesn't bring a pasuk for pigul because the Gemara says that anything that has a matter can become pigul. In other words, in order for the isser of pigul to occur, it has to have something at the end that's mattered. And the thing that's always matter is blood. You sprinkle the blood, and that's what culminates the whole event, the whole carbon, all the avodas. The final thing is the dam, that is the matter. But the dam itself, the matter itself, cannot become pigul. One of the miyutim that the Gemara brought to exclude blood was the word hu. Hu, it is, it's as is. In other words, blood before the hakrava is like after hakrava. Just like after you makriv, you bring the blood to the Beis Hamikdash, you sprinkle it on the mizbeach, there's no pigul, so too beforehand also. The Gemara says, why is there no pigul afterwards? It says, because we don't find anywhere that the mitzvah was done. You already sprinkled, and that's it. The mitzvah is over, that you could be over on me'ilah. In other words, once you take a piece of carbon and you put it on the mizbeach, so before you put on the mizbeach, you will be over. But after, once you finish the mitzvah, you're not over. Besides two places, besides Trumas Hadeshin, that is, every morning you take a shovel, the kohen would take a shovel full of ashes and put it next to the mizbeach, and it would miraculously disappear into the ground. And the second thing the Gemara brings is the garments of the Kohen Gadol on Yom Kippur. So you'd be over on Trumas Hadeshin if you'd be male, and the garments of the Kohen Gadol, even though his job is done and he can no longer use the clothing, but if you use them, you're over on me'ilah. According to one man, the Omer, a Kohen Hedjit can use those begadim the entire year. So he says the second thing would be egla ruva. But since you have two things, we have the concept of shnei ksuvim habayim kechot ein melamdim. You have two psukim, Trumas Hadeshin and the big Kohen Gadol, or Trumas Hadeshin and egla ruva, and you can't learn anything else out. You can't learn blood from it. So therefore, blood, since it did its mitzvah, there's no mi'ila. According to the Mandama, that says that you could learn from two psukim. So there's two mi'utim in those psukim that say dafka, trum sadeshen, and egla arufa. And now the Mishnah goes to say, what are the stringencies that blood has that chaylev does not have? Dam is in every single animal in the world. In other words, it's in behemoths, it's in chayas, it's in birds, and it's in non-kosher animals as well. So it's asur midaraisa to drink the blood of a pig and a chicken and any type of animal. Whereas chaylev is only in one type of animal, just a kosher behemoth, meaning in cows, goats, and in sheep. And with that, we finished Perek Kol HaBasar, and now we're going to start Perek Or B'Haroitav, which is basically going to discuss the tumah of foods. So in order for food to be susceptible to tumah, to give off tumah, it has to be a kibetza, egg volume. So if you're missing from that kibetza, says the Mishnah, you could add things that typically they themselves don't come together to create the shear of tumah. For instance, the hide of the animal, the skin of the animal. It itself, you took a kibetza of skin, it wouldn't be tameh at all. But if you have you have part of a kibetza of meat, and you need to finish off the shear to combine to the final shear of kibetza, you can add the hide to it. Now, the hide is what we call a shomer. It's a protector of the actual meat. And as we're going to see soon, a shomer is susceptible to tumah. You have, the Mishnah says also, the gravy, where gravy alone is not matama b'kibetza, but it combines with the meat. And you have the sediments. As Rashi says, the tavlinim, the spices, or just the sediments. Olol, as the Gemara explains, we'll see when you cut into the hide, you have small strands of meat that we don't consider them anything, but they're mitzdaref to the shear. Bones, that is, if you're going to use the bone marrow as your meat, as your shear, you could use the exterior of the bone, the hard part of the bone, to be mitzdaref to the bone marrow, because again, the exterior of the bone is a shomer, it's a protector of the marrow itself. Gidin, sinews are by themselves not mitzdaref, but together with meat they are mitzdaref, and horns in the place below where it attaches to the body, where it's soft and it's bloody, that is mitzdaref to the meat to create a shear, but not the hard part on top. How do you know that a shomer, that a protector, is mitzdaref? Because it says in the pasuk, Akol zer zerua, where when you plant, how you plant, and you plant with the husk, with the peel of the kernels, so it's mitzdaref. But tumas nevela, says the Mishnah, which is more chomer because it's mitame, a person and vessels, there you need a lesser shear of a kezayis, and all these things that we said, the hide, the horns, etc., are not part of the shear because it says in the pasuk b'nevlasa, in its meat. Now, a very interesting halach in the Mishnah. If you have these four conditions, you have a very interesting halach. If you have a Jew, not a guy, who is a shoichet, he didn't just tear it open, and he shechted a non-kosher animal, he shechted a pig. For a guy, he created food. So for that, from the moment of the shechita until the animal actually dies, it's susceptible to tumah. Because if it was alive, it's not susceptible to tumah. Once it's dead, it is tumah. But in that area, since he's a Jew, he can make it food, and only dafka with the shechita, and not just killing the animal. And finally, Rabbi Yehuda says that if you have these little strands of meat, when you cut and you put it together like kazayis, you consider it basar, so it becomes an nevela, and it's susceptible to tumah, and your chayiv kars if you go to the Beis Hamikdash. Have a wonderful day.